Welcome back. It's our very first interview segment for the day. And in the studio with Victor and I this morning is Kayode Otitoju. He's a politician, and we'll be talking to him this morning on the autonomy of INEC, the proposed autonomy of INEC, and it will be from a politician's point of view.
Thank you very much. Good to have you on the show as usual.
Thank you.
Now, what do you make of this sweeping powers, if you like, that INEC is seeking, especially ahead of the 2015 elections? Professor Tahiru Jega had said that the process of electioneering in Nigeria can only continue to be improved. And then again, he said, let's pick them one after the other. Some of the demands that he has made is that this INEC should be made to be truly independent. Autonomy, complete autonomy for INEC. What do you make of this proposition by the INEC chairman?
Thank you very much. I support him. I believe that a 100% autonomous INEC will really show the personality traits of Jega, because before he was chosen or appointed by Mr. President, he was heading University Union, professors, and so they know his pedigree. And when they say independent National Electoral Commission, it should be independent in true sense. There shouldn't be any clauses and whatever that could bar them from really being, totally autonomous. Like in terms of financial autonomy, they are 100% now. And again, giving them the power to determine the environment for conduct of election and announcement of winners. That is 100% true, okay? But now to determine the type of candidate, I think they need that autonomous, and they need that power to be able to say, yes, you are still facing EFCC, you are not eligible to withstand the election, not minding whether your party has already,
For INEC to seek what it calls operational independence, would you say that INEC as presently constituted, INEC as presently what we have right now, that is not independent? Would you say that?
No, I've told you
that as we speak now,
yes,
there are still some people pulling the strings as far as INEC is concerned?
Well, that is if they are allowed to be pulled. That's the essence of opposition. Okay? If opposition is saying this, then the master of the house or the owner of the house, should be saying, yes, this is what should be. And that's what really brings out, the real democracy,
okay.
And,
yes. Top of the list, INEC is, which you just mentioned, is demanding for powers to disqualify candidates.
Yep.
Let's talk about the issues that we have faced in the past concerning this. Now, the parties, most politicians are saying that, they should be given the right to put their candidates out there. Now, what is the danger of allowing the party to put a candidate out there as opposed to what INEC is proposing?
No, they still work pari passu and towards the same end. The party conducts its primaries and brings up its candidate, okay, and say, yes, this is the candidate I want, okay? Mm-hmm. But the problem I think INEC is facing is that not all parties conduct primaries. Some parties just pick, candidates by godfatherism. If all parties should handle primaries as PDP handles it, I can say that credit to PDP any day. And that's why in some states or in some elections, PDP now, loses elections. Because they emphasize that democracy and the selection process, to the letters. Okay? They make sure that if 1,000 people are interested in a certain position, they allow them to go through primaries and they pick. Whereas, even in the corporate world, you get better candidates by headhunting. You look around, you know the type of tasks you want, and you look around, you tell people, and they say, yes, this is the person that can do the job for you. So I see, you know, the virtue of allowing elements of dictation or dictatorial tendency at least we will evolve to the level of what PDP is expecting now. And if you look at ACN, for instance, let's move
away from that. Let me ask one question.
Let's allow him
to land. Factors.
Let's allow him to land. Let's allow him to land.
You see, when you see parties like ACN, for instance, in 2014 election, we be held in the kitchen to determine governor. ACN already has a candidate because they have already chosen, and that person is already working towards that goal. PDP, there are still so many people jostling around, coming, and at the end of the day, by the time they now do primaries, it will be too close to the election, and the disgruntled people will find it difficult to align with whoever is chosen, and it makes them difficult for the party. So there is
but what I don't understand, you just alluded to the fact that
what I now expect from INEC is make this thing a standard that everybody must adhere to. Every party must get their candidate by free and fair primaries.
Having INEC now very concerned about this matter, or having INEC on the matter that the political parties should handle, do you think that it limits the political parties in any way?
No, what I'm saying is political parties still play a role, okay? Political party, you will still have to contest under a political party anyway. And the political party must bring their own candidate, okay? But what INEC is now saying is that it should have power to say, this person is qualified, is not qualified, and you don't wait till after election, and the opponent now take you to court and say you don't have primary school living certificate or whatever.
What I'm trying to say is, now, shouldn't that process of picking a candidate be the party's business, as opposed to INEC, let me use this word, for lack of a better word, interfering?
It's still, let's get this right. It's still the party that is bringing up the candidate. It's not INEC. INEC cannot just go and say, Mr. Otitoju, come and contest under AMPP or whatever. It's the party that will still bring a candidate. And a candidate is different from a contestant. There are so many contestants. After primaries, a candidate emerges. You get my point? For a post. Now what INEC is saying is that most time when they see wrong people, maybe someone that is, for instance, this type of fuel subsidies come and the people, you bring money to a party and you now emerge as a candidate. Whereas people are blaming INEC that, INEC, why are you allowing this fraudster, someone who make the economy, to become a candidate, in so political party? The law doesn't allow them to stop that person. So they are now seeking for power to say, nip this thing on the board. If you bring Mr. So as a candidate, INEC will be blamed for allowing a wrong person or someone that we know is fraudster. You get my point? But they don't have power to stop. So once they have the power, before you even go to the election, they do due diligence on you and they say, yes, you can't stand this election. The party should bring another person. Do you get my point? But right now, what happens is garbage in, garbage out. You send any list to INEC, they don't have power to stop. Until when you now win election, maybe through by crook or whatever, and the opponent now say, no, this person is not qualified, then they go to court.
Now, you are a politician.
Yes.
You have been in the business of politics for quite a while.
Since 2001.
Contested elections
Yeah.
and a party man that you are. I want to ask you, is it not the place of the party to always produce the very best of what it has to offer, so that it actually takes away this cumbersome process of going to INEC to clear the person? So now we have seen, over time we have seen that even governors from your party, some other public office holders from your party have come out of their post, and then people say, this person has cases to answer. Of course, we have the immunity clause that would not allow them to be prosecuted while they're in office. But I'm asking you now, is it not supposed to be internalized, this process of bringing out the very best? Someone that does not have a tainted past, someone that whose record is antecedents are not questionable in any way.
Yeah, thank you. I think you are right in a way, in the sense that, but you should remember that we see the outward, we don't see the inward. You get my point of a person. Okay, all you can do is, if you want to know your qualification, you say, okay, bring your certificate. There is a form, which school did you attend, what degree did you get my point. If I lie, it may be difficult to detect, because I won't send those certificates to the issuing authority to verify.
But
when
are the authorities, are the parties not supposed to verify these things before, so that, because at the end of the day, if the person is disqualified, it's quite an embarrassment.
If you are called for an interview by, say, Dangote for a job, and you tender your certificate, does Dangote send it to WAEC or to University of Lagos to verify the certificate? These things are not, unless there is, someone that raises, I think whistleblower. Unless there is a whistleblower that this thing is not genuine, it's then that you now go the whole hog of verifying certificate. For a primary that remains maybe 4 or 5 days, and the screening is just 2 days to the time. After screening, nobody has the right. You are talking of, in a big party like National Party, like a PDP, if you are screening for senatorial alone, nationwide, you are talking of close to 200 people or 300. So so now, why I support INEC is that after party might have done its own bit, they send these people forward. They Google your name, they Wikipedia your name, they find who you are. Maybe you have a criminal record, and they say, no, this person can't stand election. But right now, they don't have that power. And that's why they are seeking that power, to be able to nip this thing on the board. Not after election might have been conducted, you are already on the seat, the appeal or whatever court now stopped you, and you go all over again.
Talking about that, now there will be no fresh conduct of election for any affected seats or constituency. There will be no fresh conduct of election if there's any problem that arises after the candidate has been.
Is that what they are?
Yes, that the person with the second highest votes will fill the position.
They don't have that power, and they may not get that power, because if I contest election with Mr. Ayara, okay, and the condition is having majority votes in so area, and again 2/3 of the vote in that constituency. I win the election. He is number 2. He is second to me in terms of majority, but out of maybe 16 states, his second position doesn't cover four local government area. Four states. How can you say that that person will be automatically become? Because that means he hasn't fulfilled the two conditions that can make him occupy that position. He has only confessed because of his mark being close to me. But what
he does save more money than doing. He saves more money.
We are talking of law now. It's not whether
it's something they're proposing. It's something they're proposing, right? I'm just saying that the process will save more money instead of you conducting fresh elections.
That is, if there should still be a clause. If the person next to that person satisfy all the conditions, and the conditions will now be having the next second best majority and covering maybe 2/3 of the local governments in that state or whatever. But just leaving it to say is next to me in terms of numerical figure without the coverage requirement, it won't work.
Now, let's also look at another issue that Professor Tahiru Jega had said. He advocated for the establishment of Electoral Offences Tribunal to guarantee timely prosecution of electoral offenders, as well as a disqualification of anybody convicted for electoral fraud from participating in electoral process for 10 years. How does this sit with you?
Yes.
Especially when you know that INEC, sometimes I wonder how they do it. When you have 36 states of the Federation and you have to send lawyers to defend INEC in all those states at the tribunals and all that. How do you see this proposal?
You see, they have the capacity if they want to. If they can co-opt university lecturers or professors to handle election and without any flaw and no so, if they are given the power, they can handle it and make things more expeditious than all these things we are doing with having to go through the normal court, and the normal court, has its own procedure. At times, too slow, because they want things to be thorough, and when judgment is given, they want it in such a way that nobody can appeal against it. No, people still. So, the normal, whereas the tribunal, by under the INEC, there will be set standard, and the time limits will be there, and they are under a unified control, and this makes things really more expeditious instead of having to go to tribunal and you wait for almost 6 months before anything is concluded and what have you. You raise another.
Yes, of course. Disqualification of people, of any person.
For 10 years.
For 10 years from contesting.
I support it. There must be penalty for wrongdoing. Until there is appropriate penalty for wrongdoings, this society, this country will not get there. There must be penalty. Once you, either first offender, in fact, in this case, this is a really big one. There shouldn't be anything like first offender or whatever. Because the process of emergence of a candidate is really long. And if you can wangle your way up to that level before INEC now say you have gone through wrong whatever, there is no excuse for you to be pardoned. And 10 years is just okay.
Also, to deal with electoral malpractice, INEC is proposing an Electoral Offences Commission, and Electoral Offences Tribunal. They want this thing to be tried as fast as possible.
Yes, tribunal, yes. Commission, why commission under commission? You get my point? INEC itself is a commission. Okay? And what happens?
Let me comment. You say the commission, according to INEC, will have powers to investigate and prosecute breaches of electoral provisions, taking such tasks off the electoral body.
Let me tell you why I don't support idea of commission under commission. A few years ago, I was in the board of SEC, and the headship of SEC should be the regulator of things like NSC and also so. But the headship of NSC, which was an SRO under SEC, was more powerful than the head of SEC. Do you get my point? So what happens when you have that commission and the person who now become the head of that commission under INEC, because more politically powerful and more influential than whoever heads INEC. Jega won't be there forever. You get my point? So I don't support the idea of having a commission under a commission, because at times the tail wag the
dog.
what?
The dog.
The dog.
So that the dog would not wag the tail. And it. All right, we want to ask you now, a lot of political parties have been registered, but when it comes to elections, they are nearly non-existent. You can hear their names with some funny candidates and during the election, and that's that. Afterwards, you don't hear anything about them. And now, INEC is proposing that a party, according to INEC, the 2010 Electoral Act as amended, has empowered it to deregister political parties which fail to win at least a seat in the State Assembly. And now people are talking about registration of more political parties. Do you think there is any need for more parties to be registered? Or do you think that these parties are quite are serious about elections, or are they pretenders who just come and collect whatever monies they collect to, you know, and then they go under?
You see, I think the problem with us is we tend to emphasize democracy too far. You know, these things should evolve gradually. When you say, yes, democracy allows freedom of whatever, and everybody now, people that should form a social club now come together and say, this is a political party and register. When it gets to election, they can't even produce a councillor. You get my point? Why should such party exist? It's wasting of time and wasting of money. Because in an election ballot paper, the party logo will be listed. Okay? The fewer, the better. If you have 5 parties you will be able to make a choice quickly. But when you have 100 logos, at times most of them resemble, you know, one another. So, in order to avoid this, set a standard. If you don't win, you know, House of Assembly, and you know how many House of Assembly, you know, even in the state, talking, you know, and this is in the whole country, you don't win a House of Assembly, you are not fit to exist.
Okay, let me ask one more question before we wrap this up. Now, on Nigerians in diaspora, INEC wants to include Nigerians outside, wants to include them in the voting process. How well do you think this will help the process?
You know, just to add to that,
okay,
the same Nigerian people that say that we are not ripe for e-voting, we're now talking about votes from the diaspora, which of course would be e-voting. So what is happening that, do you think that at this point
maybe
is going to
INEC
work?
is already looking into the future, and you know, they may not wait till 2015 before starting to make some, you know, changes and bring in innovations, maybe in what they have been doing, probably how to do it better or how to do it differently. You never can tell. The time is still there. They want to embark on e-voting. Once there is e-registration, then there could be e-cards and there could be e-voting. Once that is possible, then it's possible for people in diaspora to vote. But with the exception of that, it will be fraught with fraudulence, and because there will be manipulations, you know.
You mean for the diaspora voting?
Yeah, because unless there is a computerized list and there is a way of knowing actual number of people, you know, per maybe a region or per a country. Okay, maybe Ghana, Nigerians in Ghana that want to vote.
But shouldn't there be some kind of database with the,
that's what I'm saying,
with the high commissions in those countries?
That would be the basis for the e-voting. Unless there is e-voting, we can't have diaspora voting. That we can't have credible
vote.
participation. Because,
okay.
Yeah.
We want to thank you so very much, Mr. Kayode Otitoju, for coming on the show, politician and social affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we've been talking about the more powers that INEC is seeking at this point.
The rest of the show continues, but before we go, we do have simulcast coming up next. We'll be hooking up with